Hello friends, welcome to another fun session with me. I'm Sanyukta and today again we'll be drawing another beautiful tile. So all throughout this series I have been working on regular square tile, which is the 3.5-inch white tile. And I am again, as I have done in all the previous sessions, just a few chits left now. I'm going to pick up 2 chits randomly. And let's get started with today's session. Let's see what's in store for us today. This tangle is called Mysteria, okay, and the second tangle is Pea-nuckle, okay. So these are yeah, okay, let's see how can we combine these two tangles together. It would be interesting. So let's get started. So what I'm thinking is probably I will start with Pea-nuckle. Probably we'll start with Mysteria in the center and then draw Pea-nuckle all around. So I'm going to start with an orb just for the sake of reference in the center or somewhere the center of this tile. Yes, and I'm going to start with the tangle Pea-nuckle, which starts with this S grid. Right, so I'm going to first draw this S on the 4 corners. Like this. Right, and then you just have to, just for the sake of reference, I'm drawing these lines so that I draw my grid properly. Yes. So draw the S, the next row, whatever is visible. Why I'm doing this? Because I'm drawing it in a circle, so it can be a little tricky. So it would be nice to take the reference of these lines for drawing your Pea-nuckle. Drawing S's. Yes, some more S's. Yeah, let's now first draw the grid. Since it is in a circle, that's why I did this pencil work, so that we do not I'm first going to start with the Tangle Mysteria. So Mysteria has this wavy lines drawn in a hollow block fashion, and then the in-between spaces, instead of inking, are filled up with the tangle tipple. That's the Tangle Mysteria. Yes, so what I'm doing here is drawing some curvy fun lines just about any way I feel like. You can draw it any which ways you want in a hollow block fashion. Try drawing behind. Yes, we will add a little weight to the lines. Let's first draw all the lines, curved lines, wavy lines. I think this is sufficient. Yes, now as I mentioned, let's add a little more. So I'm adding a little weight to one side of the curved lines that we drew to add a little more character to the tangle. It's a simple tangle to draw, so small little things that you can do to add to its look. And this is one of them, to add weight. Yes. Simple exercise, yet adds so much depth to your tangle. Slowly take your time, do that exercise for all. Yes, I think we have done it for all. You want to add one or two more bands, you can do that. Let's add one last. Again, add that extra weight on one side like this. Yes, now I'm going to start with my tangle Pea-nuckle. So as I mentioned, you have to start with these S shapes. Draw the S grid. Since we are going in a circle, and that's why I drew it with my pencil so that we do not get lost in between where to connect. It's a little tricky tangle to draw, and it gets a little trickier if you draw it in a circular fashion, and that's why little bit of pencil work would help. Go all around. Like this. Right, now is the time to connect. Now there's whole lot of lines here. You can either get rid of it beforehand or we can do that at the end. Let's now use a finer nib and connect lines. So how do we connect? Upper part of this S goes to the lower part here, like this. Again, the upper part goes to the lower part. That's how you connect. The upper part goes to the lower part. So you connect the first half of this S to the lower half of the second S, and then you have to add further lines inside, and then you have to add lines like these and then ink the sections at the end like this. Yes, let me zoom in a little more. Yes, so I'm now going to add lines here. Go slow, it can be a little tricky to draw. I'm switched to my finer nib. So this was the line work, and now the corner sections are to be inked. Like this. Yes, so this part goes to the lower part. So you can see the size of the Pea-nuckle will vary because we are drawing it in a circle. Again, some lines in between, slanting lines, and then just ink the rest of the section. It will also help add that drama factor to your tile and to the tangle. So here we are drawing behind. Again, some slanting lines, some inking there, some slanting lines, and some inking here. So because we are drawing it in a circular fashion, the size of the Pea-knuckle is increasing, but that's fine. Yes, that's how you draw the basic tangle. So let's now take it further. So going next to the next row. So the top connects here to the bottom of the S facing like this. Again, the top here connects to the bottom. Add fine lines and fill up the space. Well, if you want to create tangleations, then those are the places where you can play. Instead of adding lines, you can add something else. Again, draw these slanting lines and ink the corners. Draw these slanting lines and ink the corners. Yes, I hope you are getting a broad idea about how to go about doing it, how to draw it. Yeah, so I'm done with 2 sections and I'm going to continue like this. Yes, I'm still continuing with the same process, connecting S's the way I showed you. Drawing lines inside and then slanting lines and then inking the 2 corners. Take your time, don't haste up, go slow. I'm going very slow. The tangle is tricky, a little tricky to draw. You just have to be careful about where you are connecting the lines. So I'm almost finishing on the last few sections, continuing in the same fashion. I have not erased any of the pencil lines, but you can see they have vanished because there's a lot of line work. Fine lines inside the peas. Has a very nice woven feel to it, like a basket weave, something like that. Tangle Pea-nuckle, slanting line in the corners. Yes, take your time. Don't be in a rush to complete. Take a break if you wish to in between. And the last one here. Let's connect the two S's. Like this. And then for the lines, and then the slanting lines, and then the slight inking. And that's it. We are done. Yes. Now let us fill up the rest of the space. Our Tangle Mysteria is not complete, so we have to fill up the in-between spaces with tipple. So I'm going to now start to add tipple. You can add all of the same size, or you can have tipple of different sizes, very small, very big, whichever way you like it, but fill up the entire space with tipple. You can also, if you wish, leave some of the spaces empty, but as far as the original tangle goes, you would generally not see spaces empty. It's all filled up with orbs. Yes, so let's do that. You can use a finer nib. Spaces are small. If you are not comfortable, just switch to a finer nib. Slowly take your time. So I'm varying the size of the orbs, but you can, as I mentioned, keep them all small, very tiny, or you can do as I am doing. Yes, Tangle Pattern Mysteria. We started with some curvy, wavy lines drawn in a hollow block fashion, and then we are going back to the gaps in between and filling it up with tipple. If you want more drama, you can always ink it, but I think we got that drama from Pea-nuckle. We don't need more of inking. Slowly take your time and fill up the entire space in between with tipple. So I'm done with that exercise. Let us now get to shading. As far as the center space is concerned, just as we do for Hollowbog, good idea to highlight some of the intersections, if not all. Yes, let us blend this much first, and then we shall see how do we want to shade our Pea-nuckle. Make sure you don't blend too much. The whites should be visible. I'm not blending much, just touching my pencil, my blending stub. Yes, to give that shimmer to my Mysteria. Going next to our Pea-nuckle, so let's just add some bit of shadow on one side. Something like this. Well, there are a whole lot of ways in which you can go about shading it. See what you feel like doing at that point of time. As I always say, shading is a matter of personal choice. Your mood at that point of time. What time of the day. The joining tangles. Everything has an effect on shading. Right now I'm just adding graphite to one side of the bigger shapes that we have drawn, the pea shapes. And then we can go back and see if we want to add something more. We can always do that. There's so much of line work here, we don't really need to shade much. Yes, it's always at times less is more. So I'm going to do this throughout. Take your own time. Complete the shading like this. So done with my shading. Now one exercise that you may do is to highlight the other side with your chalk a little. So if you want, you can touch chalk on the other half where you have not added graphite. Like this, it will add a little more shine. Please make sure your pencil is sharp. So just adding a touch of chalk in the other half. Like this. Yes, you can already see the shimmer or gloss that it adds. So just take that time, go to each, add a little chalk on the other side of your knuckle. If not blended this one. Yeah, so I'm going to do that throughout. You take your own time. Like this. And if you want, you can add some bit of shadow here at the edges. Like this. And highlights on some of the tipples. Like this. That's about it. I don't think we need to do anything else. Yes, these black spaces are important for this tile, so I'm not adding GellyRoll there. I'm going to leave it here, close my tile, put in your chalk, sitting cozily somewhere. Yes, always sign and date your tile. I shall see you again with a few more sessions of the series. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.